Alright everybody, welcome to episode 160 of Psycho's Platters, where we take another stop on the LP train, so to speak here. Always powered by coffee, always powered by coffee. Wearing my Darth Vader Star Wars shirt today, because, A, because I felt like it, and B, you know what, I still can't get over Carrie Fisher's death. I mean, I know celebrities die, obviously, but I just didn't see that one coming. I really didn't, although I had friends of mine tell me that she was a chain smoker for many years, so, you know, maybe that was part of it, right? But from what I'm led to believe, at least what I read over the last 48 hours, is that she did get all of her parts filmed for Star Wars Episode 8 that will be coming out December 2017. So good for that as well. And of course Debbie Reynolds also passed too, just in the last day or two, and I kind of felt bad about this. So I want to go off right off the bat here. Strictly all LPs that I picked up from Goodwill over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Holiday slump, of course. There's, you know, I couldn't find anything maybe since maybe a day or two before Christmas. Yeah. So all that stuff was before that time, and it's the 29th of December right now. So we'll start off right off the bat from 1967 on MTA Records. This one is a backstamped promo, but it's "I'll Release You," Joanne Bond and the Coquettes. Now, this cover kind of looked really interesting to me. That's the reason why I grabbed this thing. This is the front, this is the back, and I'm going to show you the label here. Nice, and it's in stone, well, not stone mint. It's I'd say maybe, I don't know, VG plus maybe. Excuse me. But I tried to figure out info from these guys, and there wasn't very much to go off of. They started out, at least from what I know of, in '63. They caught an album out called Swinging Harris on Sims Records, and then they followed this one in '67. The main hit, "I'll Release You," charted on Cashbox magazine September 16, 1967. Basically, they've got a country feel to them, is what this is. They pretty much stopped around 1969. Roy Drusky produced this album, and he was a country singer that charted in his own right from the '60s to about 1974. That's when he stopped in that bit, but he produced this little bit, and like I said, it's interesting. I mean, I've heard a couple cuts off of this. It's all right, but it's, you know, it's just, I don't know what we'll just say about it. But like I said, I got it originally because it looked something like girl groupish. From that to this one, which I thought was really odd, "The In Sound from Way Out," electronic pop music of the future created by Perry Kingsley on Vanguard. This is the front, and this is the back. I'll show you the label here. This is in stereo. This one's overall got some slight feather scratches, but other than that, this one's in pretty nice shape too. These guys here, there is just a lot of strange stuff went on with trying to figure out these guys, but this came out in '66. Kingsley was staff arranger at Vanguard when Perry met him. Perry's hand-spliced tape loops mixed with the arrangements from Kingsley was pretty much created this album. Now, the little trivia bit here, track 4, which is Swan's Splashdown, had its opening riff borrowed without permission for Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth in 1997. Didn't know that. So, go figure. You know, they'll get sounds from everywhere, right? This next one, okay, from 1971, The Family from Mash McCann. Mash McCann was a Canadian rock fusion band. Here's the front. Here's the back on this one. This is their second album. I'll show you this here. I like the old Yellow Epic. This thing is truly in mint condition. I love it. But this one didn't do so very well. They cut the Children of the Sun, though, just squeaked into the Canadian top 40. Mash McCann was originally known as the Triangle in 1965. unfortunately, pretty much like I said, after 71, these guys were toast. But some of the cool parts, though, I found out, though, about these guys, they played at the Festival Express in the summer of 70, all across Canada. Now, if you know what I'm talking about with all this, Festival Express was, they ended up putting it out as a documentary. And if I remember correctly, I think, Janis Joplin, Grateful Dead, the band, Buddy Guy, I think, and these guys were in there too. But pretty much, this album tanked, really. It didn't go anywhere. The first album, which was simply called Mash McCann, a couple of the cuts off that album from 1970 were sampled later on by a couple different rap artists. Black Sheep was one of them. He did his in the 90s, and MF Doom in the 2000s cut samples from that first album. But this one here, pretty much after Mash McCann broke up, let's see here. I don't think I'm going to get a decent picture out of this, but one of these guys ended up into a better place. Jerry Mercer. Now, does anybody know who Jerry Mercer is? He played drums. Anyone? Bueller? Who said April Wine out there? You get a gold star. Jerry Mercer, he got actually before April Wine. He worked with Roy Buchanan, but then he jumped to April Wine just in time to record the third album of theirs, Electric Jewels, and he ended up going from that all the way to, he was with them up till 2008 when he finally retired. But you know what? I always liked his drum work. I did. I remember seeing a video quite some time ago. It was an April Wine video where he did this crazy drum solo for the cover of King Crimson's 21st Century Schizoid Man. Go look for it on YouTube. I think the clip's there. But yes, Mash McCann from 1971. This one I pretty much got just because it was signed. This is actually the second Rex Allen Jr. autographed album I found. This one, though, from 1984, called On the Move. Rex Allen Jr., of course, was born in Chicago. Off of here, got a top 20 hit, Dream On, Texas Ladies. He got his start in 74. This is the front, this is the back. But like I said, really nice to find signed album. And all of these, by the way, are like, I think they were $1 a piece. $1 a piece for all this stuff. All right. Going to 1976, David Ruffin, Everything's Coming Up Love, from May of 76. Here's the front. Here's the back. And of course, it's on that beautiful Motown label. Yes. This is so clean. So clean. This one here, there's, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot. The background information, there's too much here for this one and the next band I'm going to talk about. But only this was written by Van McCoy. He started out in the 60s, but most people know Van McCoy from Do the Hustle. All right. Which, of course, shortly after that, I think he passed away too. But he did get, this album did end up being top 20 in R&B Billboard. And then other people that were on this album, Steve Gadd, Hugh McCracken, and others off of this. I heard a couple cuts off this. I like it. It's all right. From the singer of the Temps. All right. Next up, I kind of got this for the cover because I've never seen this. I'm like, what the hell is this? From 1976, a band called Stuff. You just saying this out reminds me of that George Carlin routine. You probably know what I'm talking about. But originally, though, these guys, most of them anyway, excuse me, were originally brought together to do a session for Queen Esther Morrow, who was a singer at the time. And then shortly after that, they played at McKell's Club in New York City, and pretty much stayed together with a slightly shifting lineup until 1981, This is the front, this is the back, and this one is on the Warner Palm label. This one's also in beautiful shape. But the ones I've heard a couple cuts off this already. But Foots and Do You Want Some of This is what I've liked so far off of here. So if you've never heard of Stuff, grab this one. I'll tell you who's on this though: Cornell Dupree, Gordon Edwards, Stephen Gadd, Eric Gale, Christopher Parker, and Richard T. All form Stuff. So from '76, that's what that is. 2 left, guys. 2 left. This next one, all you guys know I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I try to gather a lot of Chicago-type music. This one here from February 1974 from the band Chase Pure Music. This is their 3rd album. This was the last released album from the band. Here's the front. Here's the back. Let me show you the label on this one, because by this time it goes to what I call the orange target. This is also mint condition. It's awesome. Now this album, though, unfortunately didn't really do real well at all. But what's really neat in here is an added bonus. Let me see if I can pull up that picture. Where is he? Where is he? I know you're not going to see this really well, but this guy here, who is it? Who said Jim Peterick from Ides of March and Future Survivor? That's right, Jim Peterick. This is the only album from Chase that he ended up on. This was shortly after he left the Ides of March, when the Ides broke up after, you know, cutting those couple albums for RCA. He was getting ready to do a solo career. And, excuse me, and he ended up jumping to this band for a little while. The thing is that Chase, most people don't know this, but Bill Chase, that's the main guy here who played trumpet, he started out with Maynard Ferguson in 1958 and Stan Kenton in 59. Like I said, this came out in February of '74. The band pretty much ground to a halt August 9th, 1974, when the band went en route to the Jackson County Fair in Jackson, Minnesota, and were involved in a plane crash. 4 members were killed, along with Bill Chase, and the pilot and the co-pilot. They flew, if I remember correctly, from Illinois. Went from Illinois to Jackson, Minnesota. But they started working on a 4th album in mid-'74, but not very much of it got finished. The other rumor, or at least what we heard, is that Jim Peterick, they were going to try to convince him to go more full-time with the band. But obviously, in a way, we're glad he didn't, right? Because I met Jim Peterick, very nice man. But I mean, he went to Survivor after his solo career in '76, I think. Went to Survivor and then, well, reactivated the Ides of March again. They're still awesome. So there's the front, the back on Epic Records. Now, excuse me, my last one for the day. This one cost me more than $1, but it was still bargain priced. I could not pass this up. Bloodwind Pig, Ahead and Rings Out, from 1969. This one here is a gatefold. I just like the way this is. It's kind of cute. Let me show you in here. I know this is a uni-pack, so let me see if I can get into this really quick. But it was beautiful brown A&M. This is in stellar shape, honestly. So Bloodwind Pig. Not sure if you've heard of them before or not. But Bloodwind Pig got started in 1968 by Mick Abrams. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, good for you. If not, he was the original guitar player for Jethro Tull. But shortly after the This Was album, which was their first album, well, him and Ian Anderson got into a disagreement. And Mick basically went and said bye-bye. And when he said bye-bye, believe it or not, quickly afterwards, Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath ended up being a very quick replacement for a little bit. But I'm getting ahead of the story here. So They formed in '68 from, by Mick Abrams through Jethro Tull, Jack Lancaster, future member of Aviator, Andy Pyle on bass, who would end up in the future being in Juicy Lucy, Savoy Brown, Rod Stewart, Kinks, Wishbone Ash, and a bunch of other ones, probably too many to mention, and Ron Berg on drums. They cut 2 albums on A&M, but by early '71 were toast, and pretty much they had an on-again, off-again with this band, basically being Mick Abrams and Jack Lancaster leading the bunch, and they cut 2 more albums in the '90s. I haven't heard anything off of those, but go look for those. So Blood Wind Pig, I'm glad to have this in the collection. I have not found a copy of the second album. I would like to hear that, because so far I like what I've heard on the first. All right, new subs. Thank you very much for all you people subscribing to this channel, and encourage your friends, encourage your enemies, encourage your frenemies to please join Psycho Platters, because I'm going to tell you why at the end of the broadcast. Late Night Music Zombie, that's all one word, Balding Cruiser, Bad Cur Productions, Joseph N. DiBiase II, Steve Sweeney, Louis Farrar III, Vladimir Mihajlovic. Hope I got that right. Dominic Della Cerda, Billy Hurst, War God 48, Mike and Part SRI, it's all one word, Captain Handlebar, I kind of like that one, that's goofy, Random Stuff, Adam H, Rump Shaker 909, Vinyl Hysteria, When You're Near, Lori Newcomb, she's a Wax Museum listener, we'll talk about that in a second, Even Cloutier, and lastly, my recently discovered half-brother Jesse Pease. Yeah, a lot of things have happened over the holidays. I love you, Jesse. Haven't met you yet, but we're family, and that's what's important. So, Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark, Night Owl Lounge with Mike Adams, 6 to 9 p.m. for Wax, 9 to 10 p.m. for Night Owl. That's Central Standard Times, okie dokie. Freak Beat with Ken Worth is on 8 to 9 p.m. Central Standard, 107.5 The Spy out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Great station at night. It really, really is. Thrifty Music Collectors Group, Tim Smith and Company. Always enjoy that little group there. Shindig Magazine. Best damn English rock magazine, period. By the way, real quick, I want to mention something. I love Classic Rock Magazine and Metal Hammer and Prague. They've just laid off people at Team Rock, which is the one that is the parent company for all those magazines. Cross fingers that these guys stick around. I don't know how, but I hope they do. Alright, honestly, guys. So I guess, email them, message them something of your support of the magazines, okay? That's important. And of course the YouTube vinyl community. Without them, we wouldn't have any of these. I will tell you this. Vinyl Grotto, Doug Fields, my buddy. Gotta throw him out there too. 2017 is going to end up being kind of interesting. I'm not going to reveal details yet, but there is going to be an expansion of the channel. Yes, I'm hoping sometime in January to give you at least a little bit more information. You'll want to be here on this channel. It's fun, it's informative, and you guys know I try to keep you entertained because I love you guys. Take care, God bless, rock on, and I'll see you next time.